Okay, so something just happened in a group of people around you, and I need you to tell you exactly what went down. Yeah, because this is the moment everything shifts. Someone said something they were not supposed to say. And once it came out, you can't just put it back in. Like it's out there now. And everything changed for everyone involved. So, here is what I'm seeing with total clarity right now. These people had a whole plan around you. Not a meeting, not something they ever really talked about explicitly, but they all just knew. They all carried the same story about who you are, what you are capable of, and honestly, what they thought you were not capable of. And they were so wrong about you, like deeply, fundamentally wrong. But one of them finally figured that out and said it out loud to the entire group. And I'm gonna tell you, this is where it gets interesting, because the thing that cracked this whole situation open was so incredibly simple. It literally undid everything they'd built. Just like that. Imagine this for a second. These people, they sat down together energetically and they drew a map of you. They literally mapped out who you are. And for the longest time, that map made them feel safe, because when you have a map of someone, you feel like you are in control, right? You think that you know what to expect. But here's the thing that was really driving this. And I'm getting so clearly right now. It was about control, not understanding. They wanted control. And the reason they wanted that control is because you are not just someone who's easy to figure out. You never have been. People have always felt something around you that they literally cannot explain. It's almost like an energy signature that doesn't fit their normal categories. And when people can't explain something, especially something they feel pretty intensely, they get uncomfortable. So, what do? They make up a story to comfort themselves. They build their little map and they call that map the truth. But the map was never actually true. It was just what made them feel comfortable in your presence. Meanwhile, you're over here just living your life, being yourself, doing what you do. And every single time you did that, every time you moved through the world as your actual self, you proved the map completely wrong. You were not even trying to do it. You were just being you. But to them, it kept not matching. It kept being off. It kept being more than what the map said you were capable of. And that was driving them absolutely crazy. Here is what I need you to understand right now. And I want you to really take this in. You're not the kind of person that people can read quickly. You just aren't. Most people, someone meets them and within like 5 minutes, they have got a rough idea. They know how to approach them. They know what to expect, but you do something completely different to the energy of a room before you even open your mouth. It's almost like temperature. Yeah. You know how you walk into a space and you can feel whether it's warm before anyone tells you it's warm. Your body just knows. That's what your presence does to people. They feel you before they even understand you. And honestly, they can't explain that feeling. So they try to explain it away, you know? And these people in this group, they tried so hard to explain you away. I'm hearing that so clearly. They compared notes on you like they were investigators or something. They're like, okay, what did you notice? What did you see? What do you think about this? And they built this entire picture of you from their combined guesses, and the picture was just way too small for who you actually are. Here is the thing I keep coming back to, and this is important. They were measuring you by the space you were in, not by who you actually are. They looked at the room and they decided that room size told them about your size. It doesn't work that way. The room doesn't determine your size. The room just determines how big you can show up in that moment. But they didn't know that because they have never had to think about someone like you before. You felt that, didn't you? You felt them deciding something about you that didn't feel right. Something that felt like it was missing the whole point. So, over time, and this is really important, every time you were yourself, every time you made a move they didn't expect, every time you showed something they hadn't included in their picture, it put pressure on the story. Yeah, like little cracks started appearing. Small pressure at first, easy to ignore, easy to explain away. They just update the margins and keep going. Oh, that's just them being unpredictable, or that's just a one-time thing. They'd patch it and move forward. But these patches kept adding up because you kept being you. And here is what I want you to understand from this. You were not trying to disrupt their story. You were not working against them. You were literally just living your life, being who you are. And by doing that, you kept creating problems for the version of you they were passing around. And that pressure kept building quietly underneath everything for a really long time until something shifted. I keep seeing this image of a fault line, something deep underground that's been building tension for years. And then one day, just an ordinary day, it moves. Not a warning, not a big announcement, it just moves, and everything on the surface shifts. That's what happened in this group. I know exactly what moved in. One person in this group looked at you, really looked at you, and then looked at the map everyone had been sharing, and they didn't match. This person knew it. And unlike everyone else who'd noticed the same thing and stayed quiet, this person actually said something. They said something like, I don't think we actually know this person. Or maybe, I think we have been getting this wrong. That's it. That's simple. That's short. And I want you to understand what that sentence does inside a group that's been in agreement for a really long time. That sentence is everything. It's a door that opens and cannot be closed again, because once someone says we might be wrong, every other person in that group has to hold that. You knew that. They can't unhear it. And now they're all standing there with their maps, and they're agreed upon a story, and there is a question in the room that wasn't there before. And question, once they exist, they grow. The group is a completely different place now than it was before that sentence. Every single person in it, whether they admitted it out loud or not, something shifted for all of them the moment that was said. And here is where I have to tell you something, and I almost want to laugh when I say it, not at you, at them. Because what that sentence did, what this one honest person accidentally started, is that everyone in the group suddenly didn't know how to be around you anymore. Think about that. They didn't know how to approach you. They didn't know what to say. They didn't know what to expect. And that's okay. That's actually so fitting, because they were so confident before, so sure of themselves, so ready to tell anyone who would listen exactly who you are and what you are about. And now they are standing there with a broken map and absolutely zero idea what the actual territory looks like. I'm getting the energy of this group right now, and it's very different from what it was. The confidence is completely gone. That forward-leaning, certain we know this person energy, completely gone. What's there instead is hesitation hovering. They want to move, but they don't know in which direction, because the map told them which direction, and now the map is wrong. And underneath this hesitation, I'm hearing this so clearly, there is shame, real shame. Because here is the thing about being very confident and then being very wrong. The confidence becomes evidence of the mistake. All those conversations, all those times they thought they knew, all of that is now proof that they got it wrong. And that's deeply uncomfortable to sit with. They are sitting with it right now. And there is something, and I'm gonna say it, there is something almost funny about that. Not mean funny, just the kind of funny where you see the natural consequence of something landing exactly where it should be. They tried to make you small. They built a whole system around keeping their picture of you manageable. And that system just collapsed on them from the inside, because they couldn't keep up with who you actually are. And you didn't do a single thing to make that happen. You just keep being yourself. And that was enough to break their entire framework. So, let me talk about what's actually moving right now, because I want you to understand that this isn't future energy. This isn't someday energy. This is happening now. The wrong story is failing. It's actively failing right now. Yeah. The crack that happened, the thing that was said, the question that got opened, it's growing. It's growing in the mind of the person who said it. And it's growing in the minds of everyone who heard it. And it's quietly changing how they see you. Even the people in the group who are still holding onto the old picture, they are holding it differently now. There is doubt in it. There is uncertainty where they are used to be confidence. And doubt, once it gets into a story, it spreads slowly, but it spreads. When that meant for you in real practical terms is this. Things are moving, things that were being held up by the wrong story about you are starting to shift. The way certain people approach you is changing. Their energy is in certain rooms. When you walk in is different. You might be feeling it already. That slight shift, that change in how someone speaks to you, that hesitation in a person who used to be very sure of themselves around you, that's the crack working. That's real. And here is something I'm getting very clearly. A wrong story about someone is actually filtered. It filters things. It filters out what's meant for the real version of you. Things that were addressed to who you actually are. Opportunities, right people, right rooms, right kinds of recognition. Those things get filtered out because the operating picture of you is wrong. And this has been happening. Things that were meant for the real you, the full version, not the managed version they built. Those things were having a hard time reaching you because the wrong picture was in there, in the way. But with the picture cracking, with the filter starting to break down, that changes. The things that are sized for who you actually are can start to get through. And they are gonna feel different from what you've been used to. They are gonna feel like a better fit, like something made for you specifically rather than something you had to adjust yourself to receive. Pay attention to what shows up in the next little while. Pay attention to what feels different because something is different. You are being seen more accurately than you were before. Not completely, not by everyone, but more. And that more matters. And I want to say something now, and I want you to really receive it. What you carry, that specific thing about you that's made this group's picture impossible to hold, that's been making their instruments spin, that's been running too big for every container they tried to put it in. That cannot be taken from you. Not by their story, not by their map, not by their unspoken agreements, not by their watching and their talking and their not comparing and their confident wrongness. None of that touches what you actually are. I'm hearing this right now very clearly. What they have been trying to manage is too big to be managed. What they have been trying to define is too real to be defined by someone working from a wrong picture. They were never going to get there. And here is what's almost funny to me about that. They know it now. That's what broke the agreement. That's what made one person say what they said. Not a big dramatic moment, just a quiet, creeping recognition that they were in over their heads with you. That the picture was never gonna be right. That they'd been trying to hold something that was never going to sit still in their hands, and it rattled them. It rattled them, the whole group. So let me be really clear about something. You are someone who's been building yourself in spaces that were not big enough for what you were building. You have been going deep in shallow places. You've been carrying your full self quietly in rooms that wanted a smaller, easier, more manageable version of you. And you kept doing it day after day without announcement, without needing anyone to see it or confirm it or put it in the right category. That takes something. That takes a knowing of yourself that other people's wrong picture couldn't reach. And you have that. You've always had that. The thing that's shifting right now, the crack in this group, the question that opened, the map that's falling apart, that's just the world catching up to what's always been true about you. It's not creating something new. It's revealing something that was already there. That was always there. Just waiting for the wrong story to get tired enough to let go. The wrong story is letting go right now. That's this moment. That's what's happening. And what comes after a wrong story lets go in space, real space. And space for you means room for the actual version of your life, the one that fits who you really are, the one that was being crowded out by the wrong picture, the one that's been waiting. So, here is what I want to leave you with, and I want you to hear this clearly. You don't need to wait for this group to fully understand you. You don't need their updated picture to be complete before you move. You don't need their apology or their recognition or their corrected version of you. No. You are not waiting on them. You were never waiting on them. What I'm getting for you right now is movement, forward movement, the kind that doesn't need permission, the kind that happens when someone knows their own size clearly enough that they just go. They stop measuring themselves against the container. They stop adjusting for the room. They move at their actual scale toward the life that was built for that scale. That is where you are. The group tried to hold a map of you. The map kept failing. One of them finally said it out loud. And now the whole thing has come down. And you're standing in the space it left behind. Not shaken. Not smaller, not waiting for them to decide who you are. You already know. You've always known. Move like it. Drop a comment if this landed for you. I want to know who I'm reaching with this one. I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Be safe.